just what an interesting, look at the pair on the front, the completely different cars. Obviously Phil Chester there with a big V8 powered, heavily modified Monty Power monster there right alongside there. Of course, the car number 1 there, Mike Trafford, Coles the number 1 badge for a very good reason, because he has our current MG champion. So 2 champions, multiple champions in the MG series. So that's what you call a top class part of the grid right there.
Absolutely. It's Trathen that gets the initial launch and leads briefly, but he cannot stop the pure horsepower of Chester down in towards turn number 1. Took pole position by 8 seconds. Quite remarkable. If that thing runs faultlessly, I don't think anybody will be seeing that. But further back, it's pretty tight as we go 3 wide down in towards turn number 1. That's Vanilla on the outside of turn 1, inside for turn 2, but the way the bend curves, he's back around the outside for turn number 3.
He's got Kim Cole on the inside. That's one of the invitational cars, the Rover Tomcat there. It's got a very different body shape to any of the other cars in this particular field. It's a 19 car there. That's Chris Gidney. Keep an eye on that hatch too. That's the ZR Series hatch there. 27 car there with Kim Cole. That was the car I just mentioned there, the Rover Tomcat.
That's deep. Oh, he gets it stopped. Did Vanilla? I thought we were going to have a bit of a T-bone, but no. Great judgment there from the veteran MG competitor. A really nice pass down into the turn 6 hairpin as they sweep down the right-handers. I love this section of the track. It's absolutely fantastic and very unforgiving as well.
Yeah, four consecutive right-handers of that northern part of the circuit, and then we head right down the back part of the circuit, heading towards turn 11 and 12, where we turn down. There we go. And then it's a downhill dash as you sort of come back inside the main complex here. Triumph car there, which is the Jeff St. John Cox car, the 95 car. Saw him here. They had a state MG round here early in March. He was also here as part of that. So a few of these guys have had a bit of a look at this track earlier in the year.
Almost a practice for this, the National Series round. But yeah, you can see the number 95 machine, as you say, that is John Cox, so in his TR7 V8. Good start from him. He's overtaken several much newer MGs. Of course, it is MG and invited British sports cars, we should stress.
Typical Triumph, of course, built with a small block 3.5 litre V8 motor in those cars. Very strong race car. It's Kim Cole on the screen. That's the 27 car. That's the Rover. Lead is Phil Chester. We saw Phil Chester also here at a state round in early March as well. And just as we saw in the qualifying this morning, dominated right from the very start and virtually put a whole lap on the whole field, which was a little bit of a smaller field at the first day round.
Yeah.
But he was extremely dominant. Good to see Mike Trafford also back here for this round. And another guy that's also would be fairly familiar with this track is Jason Holmes in the ZR Series bright canary yellow car as well.
Holmes just took second position down in towards turn number 1 with the straight line horsepower, getting through on the reigning champion. So makes that move for second position, but already they've lost sight of Chester 4 seconds down the road. That's the second a kilometre around this place, or pretty close to anyway. So a brilliant first lap from Chester. Trathen the last couple of years has taken the title, 2022 and 2023, done that through pure consistency. While others have fallen around him, he's racked up the points and put together a brilliant title challenge, and has ended up taking the championship off Chester and some, you'd argue, much faster machines. So Trathen, consistency pays in motorsport sometimes, and he's proof of that in this category.
Position change too. Kim Cole's got in front of Chris Gidney there as well. So the 27 in front of the 19, just down that back part of the circuit. And Kim Cole there giving chase there to Jeff St. John Cox. It's quite a long name there to try to get through, and in fact he's done that pass right there, right on cue, right up on the inside there of the Triumph. And you see the Tomcat number plates there. It's a pretty cool looking bit of machinery.
It is.
And it's actually really picking his way further. And Chris Gidney now over the back of St. John Cox as well. It's a much more modern piece of machinery too. Big, quite a few decades apart, those two models. Of course, the Triumph being involved in the invitational class in this group. So So they're all close and handy as well. And just behind there is the Paul Vernal car. You see the 8 car just in the distance. So he's also trying to come up on the back of one of the ZR series cars there in the silver cars. There's some of the older models there, some of the midgets in the group. Car 9 there of Jeff White in the yellow car. So that's even older school once again. This is the 64 car there of Dave Bagnet. 2 yellow cars there involved.
Yellow? You reckon the first one's yellow?
Oh, I think it might be a bit mustard involved in
Yes,
there.
I reckon as they come onto the pit straight to complete lap number 2, they've closed in on these 2 MGs ahead, and the 64 machine does pull to the inside. So good to see the little midgets getting involved with some of the MGs as well, as they cross the line and head down towards turn number 1. Big group here between the positions of 12 to 16, 17, and even towards the tail end of the 20. They were pretty much nose to tail from 12th to 20, 8 seconds. So really good gaggle of cars, some great fighting, some great scrapping further down the field, and great that Blendline TV showing us that there's battling all the way through the field.
As we saw in Alfa Romeos, busted up into different classes. Obviously the open class cars well and truly out the front, so you've got people like Phil Chester, Jason Holmes, Mike Trafford, they're all open class cars. And then we've got the modern class cars. So the moderns basically run on radials. Obviously the open class cars are fully modified, full race slicks and full modifications. And also we have the classic group as well. So if you go back to some of the MGBs in that group, and the midgets, they're all the classic style, the older style cars. We don't have any Group S cars here this weekend. It's another class that's also involved. This round is actually brought us by greats. Oh, we've got a car in the wall down there.
Oh dear. It's gone in hard backwards by the looks of it. I think it's spun maybe 100 and more than 360, and I think it's gone into the wall backwards. There's a bit of a fire underneath, so there may be a little bit of a... It is.
Yeah, I just picked up the 32 there, so a long time MG Racing stalwart here in SA. Rodney Gibb, and this will probably there we go. So yellow's there for the safety car. I've come straight up on our timing monitor, so I saw a few flags waving ferociously. There they are.
Really good to see the display boards, of course, around the bend as well. But there is, for the first time this weekend, the Hyundai i30N safety car. It looks fantastic with the bend all over it. Always does the course cars work around this magnificent venue. Probably done more laps than any other car around here, I'd imagine.
I would say so.
Yes. But yeah,
bit unfortunate there for Rodney Gibb. We had been such a long time stalwart of midget racing here in SA.
Look at the margin at the end of that lap. Chester had built out an incredible margin, albeit though I will admit that Holmes slowed down a bit for the safety car, but nevertheless it's nearly a half a minute lead. just 3 laps into the race. Incredible.
Bring him way back to the rest of the field here after all that hard work. I was going to think Chester's had to work all that hard, but obviously a lot more horsepower in that open class car than some of the others in this field, so that's the reason why he's skipped away.
The reason why he's a 5-time champion as well.
That's right.
Absolutely, showing why he is. But yeah, he's just had a couple of mechanical issues the last couple of years, and it's all about collecting points in championships like this, and in the end that has cost him dear come the end of the season. That's where Trathin has picked up the last 2 titles, but we've got quite a few champions in this as well. Holmes, 2-time champion as well, back in 2012 and 2011 as well, so back-to-back champion. No Robin Bailey this weekend. He's generally always around in his MGB GT V8, so not quite sure why Bailey's not around this weekend, but always a front runner in the field. So
there's our lead car there in the Chester case. Isn't that a tough looking bit of weapon? That's a great looking race car, and fully modified to, got a 6-litre V8 motor in that car, so there's a lot of engine under that little hood.
Absolutely. I think there's a bit of confusion here. The safety car has picked up the second car in the queue, so Chester's gone across the line, and halfway, there we are, around the opposite side of the circuit, he's picked up the second car in the queue. So he's going to have more than a half a minute lead by the end of this lap, that's for certain. So yeah, picked up the second car in the queue, which has caused a little bit of confusion because I believe we're meant to get the safety car, the checkered flag at the end of this lap, just to recover that stationary vehicle. But we might have to do an extra lap now, as the leader has already passed the finish line.
Some great British marks here. Obviously British Invitational as well. That I do love the Triumph GT3 car. That's a beautiful, that orange car that's gone through. That's just a fantastic looking piece of car. We had a bit like the Triumphs in the field as well. We had, you being from the home country originally, you would be pretty familiar with some of these great British marks. But
absolutely,
the MGs.
Got to thank our volunteer officials and volunteers, and if you want to become an official, make sure you visit motorsport.org.au/officials. Great to be a part of an event like that. You know, if you can't spectate or drive yourself or be involved in our sense, in the commentary box, brilliant way to get involved is marshalling, to feel the cars, smell them, really feel the vibrations as the cars go by. Nothing quite like it. I was lucky enough a few years ago to head down to Dandenong Road at Sandown when Formula Ford was on the marshalling post, just as a one-off race. That was really cool to see the cars. You can almost touch them down there at Dandenong Road. Really, really cool experience for myself. Are they going to put the checkered flag out? No, I think we're going to go one more. And then Chester, who's, as we say, he's probably at the back of this train now, he will get the checkered flag. So, we say, a bit of confusion. And that's simply because he was leading the race by half a minute.
Too far ahead,
exactly.
Yeah.
So we understand how that's occurred, but nevertheless.
It's funny how you were talking about the volunteers before. There was a massive shout out during the week to try and get volunteers to this race meeting. They were massively short, and we've got to thank them for that, because otherwise we couldn't have got this meeting underway. They were well short of quite a few officials, so we do thank them for that.
Big thank you.
For sticking your hand up to get that done. Otherwise we might have been in a little bit of trouble for this race meeting.
Absolutely, yeah. Well said, Mark. As we see what's to come, so although we are under safety car and we'll finish this race under safety car, after this Hyundai XL Masters for the veterans, the elder statesmen of the category. There is the checkered flag at the back.
There it is.
Phil Chester's going to win this race by about 3 minutes. A great performance from him, half a minute clear when the checkered flag was thrown. Great performance from him, and then the rest of the cars will come through soon. Well, I say soon after, it's quite a while afterwards. But beyond that, going back to the schedule, XL Masters for the elder statesmen of XL Racing. Good field of 19 cars for them. Then the SA prototypes. So, of course, there is the Australian prototypes, but the South Australian prototype series, which has started in recent years, and it's something that you've been following closely.
I certainly have.
Yes.
We're looking forward to that once again. It's always great, fast and furious racing. It's great to watch.
Absolutely. Beyond that, the younger guys trying to make a career really from racing in XL trophies. Then Alfa Romeo's second race before the you call it the headline act, wouldn't you, this weekend? Australian Formula 4 returning to Australia for the first time since here, actually, ironically, in 2019 was the last round, 5 years ago. And then we finish off with a big race, a 60-minute enduro, marked cars and invited, so a few GT cars, a couple of Porsches, and a glorious V10 Lamborghini in that category as well. So looking forward to that one. So plenty of variety, whether you like your close, nimble XLs that always show good racing. But here is the results from that one then. Phil Chester taking the win in the number 72 machine from Jason Holmes and Michael Trathin. So 3 former champs in the top 3. Beyond that, Kim Cole, Chris Gidney, Jeffrey St. John Cox.
We'll get that one.
Yes,
out.
exactly. Yeah, we'll get there. Beyond that, Paul Vanel, Gary Gibson, David McKinnon, and Vincenzo Gucciardo, who I expected him to be a little bit further up the field in that one. He set reasonable lap times, so watch for him in race number 2. Beyond that, Jason Edwards, David Biagent, Anthony Vollebrecht, there we got John, David Hopper, Gregory White, Danny Karma, then John Makem, Trevor Dunsford, Murray Stephenson. And beyond that, 2 non-finishers, James Vollebrecht and Rodney Gibb. Not a bad race there, but unfortunately very much majority of it behind the safety car.
Yeah, not really what we want to see, but that's the way things roll out. So left Jason Holmes there on the front of the grid there all by himself. So he'll have no one to look at on his his right hand side. So it'll actually, Mike Traffin's the interesting one to see the number one there, the little blue car behind him. He had a clean run straight through. He'll have no Chester in front of him. So not too sure what's happened to Phil Chester here.
I'm sure he rolled out. I'm sure I saw that car leave the grid, so something's happened on the outlap. Great start from the two on the second row of the grid, particularly Cole, who's going on the left-hand side, Trathen on the right-hand side of our eventual pole sitter, Holmes, who had the row all to himself. It's going to be three wide. Who's going to be last of the late breakers? It's going to be Trathen in the lightest machine of the three. The reigning champ goes up from third to first, down on the run into turn number one.
Gee, car 86 caught one there.
Yeah,
and that's one of our local drivers. That's John Illingworth, the South Australian-based driver there. And he's going to be spawning a bit of damage on the back of that car. Things got a little bit tight down there at turn one.
You'll see White, the yellow machine, just at the back of this shot. He was the one that hit him up the rear, and he's got substantial right front damage. So I don't think it's affected any suspension or anything, but it's definitely pushed the bodywork into and around the tyre. So fingers crossed that's not robbing, and he can continue for the remainder of this race untroubled.
Paul Vanel being attacked there by local South Australian sports sedan driver there, Dave McKicken, in the early model Corolla. He's not running for any points here this weekend, so just getting a bit of practice in.
We've gone safety car, so I thought everybody came around that first turn okay. Maybe it's Chester that they've deployed the safety car for, that's somewhere around the course. Oh, off goes.
That was the Gibson car, the GT6 there, and it's a pretty little car too. He don't want to see any damage there. And there's your answer.
The number 33 machine of Macomb has come to a halt at turn number 3, waving his hands around. He is not too happy about that. We've got a replay of what happened at turn number 1. Watch for the yellow machine, number 9, a little bit further back. It's a simple case of a few too many into one, go. Yeah, and substantial contact there. But then we'll continue with this shot, because what happens at turn number 3? Look for the red number 33. No, we don't quite see that on that shot.
And he's calling for a toe strap there. You can see extending the arms there. He's obviously got no drive left in that car.
This is chaos. Cars are 3 wide, 4 wide. They're still racing. Some of these guys completely unaware that a safety car has been deployed. There are boards and flags waving all around this circuit, but they are continuing to race each other.
I think they've seen all the flags now, so they'll back right off.
I'm not sure they have. No, they haven't, Mark. They're still racing some of these guys.
The 76 car there is Dave Hopper, isn't it, there, one of the South Australian drivers. He's gone hell for leather down there at turn 18. Well, there's the 9 car, the white car. Look at the front guard, and the fact that front guard's been followed right under there on the right-hand side. It's actually missing the headlight as well. It's knocked the whole panel out. And that's
substantial.
Got some substantial damage there. So it was a fair tag there on John Illingworth. There was no problems. We did see a shot there before the back of Illingworth's car that supporting a very large, there it is, a very large dent on the back of that car as well. So it's not what you want to see. The number 9 there, Greg White in the early model MGB there. Actually, of course, running in the classic section there, so we don't like to see classic cars being dented up like that, so I don't think he would have been either. Oh, there's the other one. I'm not too sure what Gibson was doing there.
So this was the safety car just been deployed at this point. He ran wide at the initial left-handed turn, and it meant he shortcutted across the road but couldn't slow it down, and on re-entry fired across the racetrack and back over to the grass on the left-hand side. So a frantic start. It's going to take a long time, I think, for stewards. I think they'll end up having to do after the race, work out who overtook who after the safety car, because there's a hell of a lot of overtaking when there certainly should not have been. But it looks like everybody has now worked out that we are under a caution period. and there are 18 cars still circulating around the racetrack. Chester is not one of them. Macomb, as we saw down at turn 3, is certainly not one of them. Vollebrecht and Gibb, unfortunately, not making the start of this one, but still a great field of MGs. This is the sort of race where Trathen capitalises. As I said, 5-time champion is Phil Chester, but the last 2 have gone to Trathen. Trathen rarely has the speed to match Chester, but through pure consistency, keeps chipping away, collecting the points, and it's prevailed in the last 2 title fights, and these are the days where this man in car number 1 shines. Make sure you follow the Shell V-Power Motorsport Park on Facebook, Instagram, and all of the social media channels to keep yourself up to date on what is to come. And same on Blendline TV as well, supporting all grassroots motorsport around the country. Of course, we'll be back here at just a 3 weeks' time, won't we, for round number 4 of the series, which concludes improved production, one of your favourites, Formula Vs, saloon cars, HQs, and much, much more. Here we are. So, yeah, 24th to 26th of May, we'll be back here. And then the big one, the Super Trofeo Asia Series, coming back to Australian shores on June 7 to 9. And that will also be shown on Blendline TV, which is fantastic news. That also includes Australian Formula 4, round 1 here this weekend. Round number 2 will be back here in early June. We've also got Australian Formula Open, the Australian Prototype Series, the Australian Radical Cup Series, and then a couple of other categories, including Porsche 944s and Hyundai XL. So that's a meeting we're both greatly looking forward to.
Certainly are. So we'll just see what's going here under the safety car conditions. So this car's going to need a full tow, so you can see the driver was calling for the tow rope there. So Trathen in front. The interesting is in the midget. It's not like the other midgets in the class. It's actually an open class car because it races on full race slicks. It's had a lot more modifications done than obviously the other car or the other midgets or MGBs in the group. And, so he'll be out front. He's a multiple Australian champ, of course. We were talking about that yesterday, and as well as Phil Chester is unfortunately not here this morning in race 1. He won't be there in his normal dominant form.
Just looking at the timing screen, with all the action further back in the pack, before the safety car was called, we saw Holmes starting on the front row by himself. But he didn't just lose first place to Trathen, he's also slipped behind both Cole and Gidney as well. So Holmes, who effectively inherited first position on the grid, finds himself back in 4th position. He's certainly got more pace than that, so I expect a charge from him once we get back to green flag racing.
See Chris Gidney race here before. He's quite strong at this track. We saw him here at round 1 of the state series here, where they ran a state round here in the MGs. He was quite strong there as well. So he's been here before, knows all about it. So it gives you a good look at the front on shot there of there's the cat in amongst the dogs there. That's the Dave McKeegan car there.
He's made a good start. He was on the fringes of the top 10, might have even been outside the top 10. He's stormed into the top 5 on that opening lap of racing, or opening really half a lap of racing. So a great performance from him. It'll be a bit controversial, I reckon, if a Corolla goes and beats all the British sports cars. That would be quite funny. But as we say, McKinnon out there in 5th position, car number 52, not racing for championship points. As we say, he's part of the 2-litre sports sedans this weekend.
Safety car to come in here, so lights will go out, so that recovery's happened fairly quickly. In fact, their recoveries over the weekend have been really good, and we do thank the recovery crew. They've been right on the ball throughout the weekend, trying to get as many race laps as we possibly can. So Trathen to lead them around. We'll see back and forth, trying to... Conditions still quite cool, certainly at ground level, so we're trying to get as much heat into that rubber as possible. Going left, right, and trying to scrub the tyres a bit to get a little bit of extra heat in that rubber.
Got got to do that more with the slicks, and that's why Trathen, as you say, he's driving on slicks. You really need to get the temp into those. The others, the grooved machines, like your road car, you don't need to go weaving them quite so much. It does help, that's for certain, but particularly the slicks, you've got to keep the warmth in those.
61 at the back of the field. Murray Stevenson, good to see him back in full race format this weekend. It's been, he's more of a, I met Murray quite a few years ago as an avid hill climber at Colin Grove quite a few years ago, and
there you go.
Does a few local MG sprints here at Malala, and it's good to see him actually in full race format. He did come here in early March, so he's obviously in the modern section there.
Safety car lights are out, so yes, confirmation that we are going green at the end of this lap. Can Trathen down the long straight hold all of these MGs and invited British machines at bay? Once he gets to the twisty stuff, he might break away a little bit. It's the straights that he has to worry about. This is going to be a fascinating restart. When is the number one machine going to put the pedal to the metal? It looks like he might have already gone, or pretty close to. No, not quite. No, it's not gone green yet. We're still under yellow flag. Safety car still on the circuit, but we are not too far away from a restart. Safety car is now in the lane. We look for the green flag, and we've got it. It's now up to him. When's he going to go? He's going to go on the line. He puts the foot down.
Cole stuck with him there too. He did a great job. He was right up behind him. Got the big tomcat right behind him, like on the prow there, right up behind him. So Chris Gidney also just followed him through. That's keep a close eye on that 19 car. I reckon he'll be right in the mix here somewhere. You can see the white ZR Series car there with the blue stripes. Gets down through to turn 1. 15 car there on screen of Danny Kiyama there. That's the MGF Series car. So over the back they come, over turns 3 and 4, over the little crest, down to the sweeper down there at 5, and then it's on the brake pedal about this point because they're about to do left, and it'll be the hairpin down at turn 6. Good passing opportunity there for anyone if you're close enough. McKeon was a little wide there, and he gave Vernal a little bit of a look in. Wasn't quite close enough, and there's Chris Gidney in the 19 car. Currently in 3rd position. It's another one of the more modern cars there in the ZR Series car. Been quite a popular model, those hatches.
Actually, in the last couple of corners, he's fallen behind Holmes. So Holmes up to 3rd. Gidney demoted down to 4th position.
Well, you're right there. I didn't quite pick that, but that's okay.
As they come over the little brow of the hill, it's got so much elevation, this circuit. The next corner is a prime example of that, turn number 13. Watch this as they come up over the crest. You cannot see the exit of this corner as you swing it right. Just got to commit and know where the exit is and drift the car out to that outside curb. A glorious piece of road. And the 67 machine of Gibson, who's had a little bit of an off-track excursion during that caution period, but he's back on and just outside of the top 10 at this point. Oh, a major understeer from the number 83 machine. Looking down, that is Dunford.
That's Trevor Dunford, one of the local South Australian drivers there in the MG GTB. You get all those letters in correct order.
What a glorious machine it is. It's so cool after all these years to see it still circulating and being pretty competitive.
Great little race car running the small block 3.5 litre V8 in those cars. They were very popular capacity cars, and a lot of them British marks, of course.
And for the lead, Trathen forced to defend. Cole trying to go the long way around. No, now he's looking for a cutback. Yeah, can't really go around the outside at turn number 1 unless the person in the lead is very, very kind to you. So slots back in behind. But Cole's performing strongly early on in this race, but despite saying that, the fastest man last time through was Holmes, a 2:22.1, and we are hearing this is going to be the final lap of the race. So again, unfortunately, a large majority of this race taking place behind the safety car. But it is at the moment Trathen who leads. He's gapped Cole early on in this lap, pulled out a reasonable margin on the number 27 machine. What an iconic number 27 is in Australian motorsport. Alan Jones winning titles with 27.
Did, yes.
And as well, Casey Stoner on 2 wheels.
He did as well, so been a pretty popular number. And there is the Rover Tomcat disc there on shot. This is obviously the final lap, as Dan just mentioned. Obviously cuts a little bit short, obviously, with the safety car intervention there, which we saw yesterday also. So haven't had a lot of luck this class, but so coming down towards, we'll head down towards turn 17, and there's only one more turn to contend with, and we're looking at the checkered flag, and that checkered flag will go to Mike Trathen, and we'll get the head-on shot in just a moment.
A bit further back, though, Cole's gone from looking at attacking Trathen early on in this lap, and Trathen's just bolted. Now he's looking in the... Gidney from
Gidney.
4th. Oh, dearie me. A mechanical issue, clearly. He was right on the tail of Holmes early on in this lap, but Gidney from 4th position has plummeted down the order. No doubt about our race winner, though. Trathen enters the final corner. What a final lap. He was only 2/10 clear of the guy in second at the start of this lap. He's almost not in view at the end of the lap. Brilliant performance from Trathen. He takes race number 2, the defending champion's first race victory of the season in the MG Racing and invited British sports cars. Cole comes home in second ahead of Holmes. The margin between those two, just 0.7 of a second at the line. And the invited sports sedan coming home in 4th ahead of Vanel and Gucciardo. Beyond that, Edwards, Gibson, and these machines here continue to come through. But there's no doubt about it, Gidney is not moving and continues to fall down the totem on the left-hand side of the screen. What a shame, because he was running so strongly.
Certainly was. Actually had a Dave McKigan 4th there. There's Chris there. So obviously a mechanical issue there. Didn't quite get there. So his race has finished slightly shorter than we would have liked. And there's Murray Stevenson, he was last position, so that's all of them have gone through under the checkered flag. So just to recap there, Mike Trathen and Mike Cole second, Jason Holmes, Dave McKigan, as I just mentioned, Paul Vanel, Viz Giardo, and then we've got Jason Edwards, Gary Gibson, Dave Baguette. He might have a fair bit of ground there too. Was the end too? Anthony Vogelbreck, rounding out the top 10. Danny Kiyama, John Illingworth with a little bit of damage. Greg White the same. Then back to Trevor Dunford, Dave Hopper, Jeff St. John Cox in the Triumph, then Murray Stevenson, and then obviously the non-finisher there, Chris Gidney. Phil Chester didn't start, and John Mackham was also failed to finish there. Back in position 3 on the previous grid, so now he's got no one in front of him. So, well, he didn't have anyone in front of him on the previous event either, because remember, Chester didn't take any place anyway. So, yeah. But he'll certainly be a lot further forward here. So there'll be the Tomcat and the MGB screaming down towards turn 1, the first 2 cars. Jason Holmes was tucked in behind them, and away we go. So start off here for the last race of MG and invited British here for the weekend, and straight away we're inside the car here of Chester, and look at him.
Left and right.
Yeah, it's pretty busy there. Looks like Heinrich Street on a Saturday night there. Very, very busy. And he's got to try and get past. Look left, right. I can see the head moving around, looking in the mirrors to see which direction he's going to take. Around the outside there of Murray Stevenson. Get past him quite comfortably. He's just running in the modern class car this weekend as normal. Of course, the highly modified open class is what Phil Chester is in here this weekend. You can hear the rumble there. Big V8 underneath that hood, pumping away, and there he goes, another gear change. Now we'll try and split the next pair. Oh, there's not much gap there. Closed up in front of him. Closed up again.
It's like a video game, the way he's breezing past everybody, and they're not moving. They're all set to very easy, and he's just flying past left and right. He could have got even more places on the pit straight, but had to settle back in behind because they were 4 wide, and he couldn't find a gap. It was like the the freeway on the way back to Adelaide. All the lanes being taken up by some lane hogger in the right lane, going about 85 kilometres an hour. But Chester is making good headway now. Now they're all line astern, and that means he can easily just breeze by either left or right. And look at this, doesn't it sound absolutely fantastic as he goes up through the gears on the run to turn number 13. Not normally an overtaking opportunity, and not on this occasion, but he'll get a good run and could make a couple more places even before the end of this lap. He's made good progress. He must be inside the top 10 for sure on this opening lap. I'm looking, I can see John Cox just a couple of places up the road in the white Triumph. So he was around 7th position. So yeah, I think he's on the verge, if not just inside the top 10 as he blasts past 1MG and is now on the tail of the invited Corolla. So we should say there is one under 2-litre sports sedan. There was meant to be a few more, but the single machine out there now, the one McKinnon, number 52, the Toyota Corolla. The race leader, though, the reigning champion, Trathen, leads, and he's now being followed by another former champion, the two-time champion of Holmes, who's really closed the margin on that lap. So really good stuff from him. He's been pretty strong this weekend, but was beaten by Cole in that second outing. Here we are, Chester. Well, how far did he get up the field? The answer,
he's
P5.
in fifth position, and he's about to go past Paul Vernal there in a blink of an eye, and there he goes. It's gone straight past him. So now...
And now onto the podium. Oh, that is phenomenal. He just moved past the man in third position like he was standing still. And that man, Cole, finished second in the race earlier today. He might even get the lead by the end of this lap. We said he's one of the favourites starting from the back. We probably sounded silly to most people, but he's making it look so easy, and he's got a chance at taking the lead at the end of lap number 2. That 72 machine is in a different, not even planets, not on different planets, in a different solar system, a different universe. It's just unstoppable when it's running.
He's got Jason Holmes in front of him. He's trying to chase down the lead car, Mike Trathen. So all of a sudden he's just going to have to back off a little bit and try and drive a little bit defensively. Obviously got a much faster car behind him. I don't think he's going to make it too easy there for Phil Chester. But once we get him in a straight line, it might be a different story.
I was going to say, he's not going to make it easy, but it's not exactly, I don't think, going to be too hard either. In fact, runs a little bit wide there at turn number 14. The in-car showing the car stepped out sideways mid-corner. He slightly missed the apex there as well, but he's got a reasonable run. Is he going to go defensive down into turn number 17? I don't think so. I think they both know it's only a matter of time. Love the helmet design on Phil Chester. Look at that palm tree, sunny beach. Wouldn't mind being there right now. It looks like a lovely place. It does actually. There's a theme going on. You can see what sort of holidays I like. As we can see them come across the line. There goes Chester. He might even get Trathen, you know, before turn number 1.
He will.
Look at that.
Quite easily.
Well, incredible from Phil Chester. Back of the grid to the front of the field in 2 laps, pretty much exactly. 10 kilometres it took him to go from P20 to P1. First lap of the race last time through. Let's see in clear air what exactly that MG can do.
Giving a close eye, Dave McKigan there, giving the triumph of Jeff St. John Cox a bit of the hurry up. Just sort of go out a shot there, going around turn 1. Got some of the classic style cars coming through, the invited Triumph GT6 up on the inside of the 83 car. So that's Trevor Dunford, so he did make the field. 260
is going to get them both.
Jason Edwards.
Great exit in the soft top. But yeah, just made that look easy. Got the momentum. The other two are fighting their own battle.
Oh, there's a moment. I think that might be the Triumph there. I think that's the white Triumph.
It's John Cox for sure.
He was in that group. Let's have a look when he comes back over the crest there. Am I wrong?
Yeah, we both thought the same thing, but I don't think it is, actually. I think that's further back down the field, and it is. So it's not John Cox at all. Apologies to his family and friends watching at home. It's not John Cox at all that has spun around. We'll see who it is in just a minute. We are focusing on this battle. All different MGs and invited British sports cars, but they are very equal on performance.
Jason Edwards making his way through the field fairly quickly there. Picked up plenty of positions in that scuffle. And down the eastern part of the circuit at the moment, that group. 9th, 10th, Harvey Gibson, so that's 10th, 11th, 12th and 13th position on track. A full group of MGFs there. A slightly modern car, well they're not as modern as they used to be, but certainly the convertible MGFs there. Certainly plenty of them around. I actually raced a state series of MGFs going back quite a few seasons ago. There's still a few of them that have still around from that old series.
Yes, this is the Triumph GT 6 Mark III, running a bit wide, the 67 car. That is immaculately presented. It looks phenomenal, doesn't it? But unfortunately, it's not looking so good at the moment because it's going backwards down the field. This is brilliant. Towards the tail end of this field, they are fighting for more than sheep stations. They're fighting like their life depends on it at the moment, scrapping. But it shows the strengths and the weaknesses of each car. It looks to me like the number 61 machine of Murray Stevenson, as you say, a South Aussie local in his ZS 180. He looks particularly fast in a straight line, and we are seeing that on the pit straight right now. Pulls alongside a fellow MG and will make the move down there under brakes. Broke that little bit later, and that's enough to take the position. As we can see, the sports sedan has come into the lane. The number 52 of McKinnon had troubles, received a penalty post-race in race number 2, and has now come into the pits with clearly some sort of mechanical drama. I was saying, what can Phil Chester do in clear air? Well, he's answered my question. 2-minute 9.8 or 6 even. 2-9.6, and that is 10 seconds faster than anybody else on the racetrack. Incredible.
As you would expect. Murray Stevenson there, keeping himself busy. He's got, I think that's the Danny Kiyama. Oh, no, actually, that's the Vogelbrecht car,
Yeah,
I think, in front there.
Yeah.
So he's chasing down hard there, trying to get himself up into position 11. So he's actually made up a couple of spots in that lap. Got a bit of fire in the belly of the veteran driver there. He's got pretty keen to pick up a few spots.
He's lost a bit of ground though in this tight, twisty section of the course, but once it gets onto any form of a straight, it just absolutely roars. 2.5 litre naturally aspirated engine. It absolutely motors in a straight line, and look at that already. He is caught straight back onto the tail of the number 48 machine of Vollebrecht as they go into turn number 14. It's caught out quite a few drivers this weekend, not only in MGs, but in various different categories. Seen a couple of incidents there, a couple of accidents. But so far in this MG race, no incidents at turn number 14, which is good news. It's such a train, isn't it? From really 8th backwards, or 9th backwards, I should say, from Dunford back to the back of the pack. There's about 10 cars within 10 seconds. It's really tight back there. Really good to see.
John McAdam there and John Illingworth at the back of the field. John Illingworth has dabbled in a few types of different race cars over his racing career. Raced in pre-production there for a while, and was in Group N racing there for a few seasons. And one of our, I think he's now a retired police officer.
Well, it's a big move up the inside. Can't quite see who that is. So far to the left, it was outside the camera shot. But further back, John Makem, as we said, came to a halt in race number 2 earlier on today.
He's going to let Illingworth go straight through. Had a good look at the mirrors there.
He did, didn't he?
You can see the head tilting down, looking in the revision mirror to see where John Illingworth was.
It's one of the things with convertibles, you can see exactly where they're looking at all times. And yeah, as you say, looking all the way through the braking zone in that right mirror, potentially opening the door if a lunge is coming, but a lunge did not come. So Makem holds on to that place, but great to see this car back out there after a mechanical issue earlier on today.
Yeah, so that's been rectified fairly quickly. Murray Stevenson looking for a pass here.
Oh, look at the size difference.
Dave Bagent there in the midget.
It's quite literally David versus Goliath out there, isn't it? It's quite phenomenal. The midget against Godzilla almost out there on the racetrack in comparison size-wise. But look at the midget through these corners. Just absolutely bolts away, but will have nothing. There'll be a 50, maybe even 60 km/h difference on this main straight. The straight line handling is so different between these two machines, and they're just behind the MGB GT as well of Bagent, I believe it is, in the number 64 machine.
Dave Bagent's in the midget.
Oh,
and
yes,
he's got Trevor Dunford just in front of him. That's the MG GT, the blue car there. You can see it just going through there. Trevor Dunford, one of our local MG stalwarts here in SA. That car's done a lot of laps at a lot of tracks, not only here in SA, but it's been certainly...
I just want to make this announcement. If you are around the Bend Motorsport Park facility and you want to go on the grid, well, here is your chance. Go down to the Welcome Centre at 2:15, about 20 minutes time. Meet at the Welcome Centre, free for all spectators. You can go onto the grid of the final Australian Formula 4 race this afternoon, but you've got to make sure you get to the Welcome Centre by 2:15 if you want to go on the grid for this afternoon's Formula 4 Australia race. As I say, free for all spectators at the venue. As we look back at the on-track action, he's outbroken himself, the number 61 machine of Stephenson, very, very wide. Just keeping it out of the gravel, and in fact, is that car stalled? Nope, he's found a gear.
All good.
And he is back underway.
So Murray Stevenson back up underway there after going a little bit hot into turn one there. So a couple of the MGS a little bit further back in the field at 76 there of Dave Hopper. Dave's another one that actually came from the original South Australian MGM F Series going back probably 10 or 12 seasons ago now.
Yeah, right.
So he's still continuing. He's still got that race car.
Yeah.
So it's still cutting laps here at the Bend again here this weekend. He was also a part of round one of the SAMG Series here back in March.
And they'll be back later on in the season as well. But yeah, this round of the National Series, and it's really produced some great racing up and down the field. But no doubt about our leader at the moment, the gap out to 17.5 seconds. And probably in the time I've said that, he's extended it to 18.5 seconds. He's out there in a league of his own, another 5 seconds faster than anybody else last time through. And we probably don't have too many more laps to go, so these guys towards the tail of the field, if they want to make their moves, they need to make them soon. And the number 15 of Kiama is all over Vollebrecht, but where is he going to make the move? They're very similar machines, these two. One's got a roof and one doesn't. That's about the only difference between them.
Exactly right, they're exactly the same.
Same colour even.
Well, that's what you call a typical British racing green, isn't it?
Exactly right. Exactly a colour I know very well as they head down into...
64 Dave Bagent's the one in the midget there, trying to hold off of the steaming hot MGFs there up behind him. He's actually got 3 of them behind him. So this positions 10 down to 13 there. They're all having their own little race back a little bit further in the field. Lightweight capacity cars there, so there's not enormous amounts of power there. See Bagent there having a good look at the mirrors there to see where the rest of these here they come. They're going to spread out and they're going to swamp him here. Oh, it squeezes up a bit tight.
That's so far to the inside. Surely didn't need to be that far to the inside, because then you're in everyone's blind spot. But Kiama has made it work, although runs ridiculously wide at number 3 and number 4. Stera there running wide, and that opens the door for the machine behind the 76 car, and that's Hopper. Great battle between these three at the moment.
All exactly the same race car, so it just comes down to driver skill here at the moment.
Had a big think about it there. I thought we were going for a send and a half, but couldn't quite pull it off. As we see, the number 15 machine looks sponsored by Blendline TV.
I was just about to mention that. So, got the Blendline TV decal down the side of the car there.
We're hearing 2 laps to go. 2 laps to go. Oh, no, they've just changed their minds. We're going final lap this time.
This is the final lap.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
last time here for MG Racing and Sports Sedan. Well, the Sports Sedan's finished. So, it's just back to the MGs now and invited British to finish off their last lap. And we've been watching this little group's 10th down to 13th. And nothing has changed too much there. Everyone's had a bit of a dive, but nothing's really changed. So there's our race leader from the rear of the field, and car number 72, the Victorian there, Phil Chester. And once again, as I mentioned before, a multiple winner in the National Series, and his name is mentioned many times over many years there.
5-time champion.
5 times, thank you, Dan. I can't count past 5. So the Monty Power entry gets down towards, and there's the in-car footage there.
He's lapping cars. It's quite remarkable. Started from the back of the grid, and he's lapping cars on lap 8 of this motor race. Well, the races he's finished this year, he has won 5 out of 5. Unfortunately, a big 0 in race number 2 has cost him dearly in the championship. He's now locked in a title fight with both Trathen and
he's pushed
Holmes.
it.
Oh,
Gee, was that he's directed him out the same way. Interesting, he put the finger on the light switch there. He must have the lights on, because I actually did see him switch them on.
he comes
There we
out
go.
the final corner, and he is going to cross the line in a dominant display. He's cruising across the line, in fact. Brilliant performance from Phil Chester. 2 out of 3 this weekend, doing it from the back of the grid. Not the only person to do it from the back of the grid this weekend. Of course, we saw Simon Grierson come from the back of the grid to win earlier on today in the Alfa Romeo category. So that's the second come from the back win of the day. And the reigning champion, Michael Trathen, as he always does, collecting bucketfuls of points by coming home in second place ahead of Holmes. A bit further back, we're looking at the car in 6th position. That's Paul Vernel. He's done a typical staying out of trouble performance. Always Mr. Consistent is Paul, and he'll be pleased with 6th position as he crosses the line. Thanks to the officials on the way through as well. Always a gentleman racer.
And there's the Tomcat there of Kim Cole. He'll finish up in 4th position, just in front of Vernel that we just mentioned. And there's the Triumph there of Jeff St. John Cox. We thought he might have had an off-track excursion earlier on, but that wasn't the case. So he will finish the race. So great to have the MGs on board here as a part of this South Australian Motor Racing Championship here this week, and that is their final race for the weekend. We do thank them for bringing them on. There's been some pretty good racing from this group this weekend, so
really good.
And they have travelled far and wide. They've come from a lot of Victorians involved here in this series. And they're just running to come through and to finish the last few cars off. Trevor Dunford coming through in 9th position.
Bajent's having to defend heavily there into turn number 17. He's run wide. He's opened the door for Kiyama, who's going to fill that gap going into the final corner.
And he'll get him too.
But will there be a cutback again? No is the answer. Good move. Great racecraft from the number 15 machine, who steals that position at the line. 10th place, took 3 places on the final lap of that race. Brilliant end for Kiyama, beating home Bajent by just a couple of tenths of a second. Then it's Hopper Stevenson after that off-track excursion down at turn number 1 in the number 61 machine, who was running strongly just inside the top 10 until that mistake. But a good race in MG Racing and Invited British sports cars. Towards the front in that one, not too much action, but outside the top 10, it was just action aplenty.
Plenty going on there. Really the battle of the MGFs there. So that's the last couple of cars to come through there. Got John Mackham, John Inningworth just behind him. So that's the recap. So it's Chester Trathon, Jason Holmes, Cole Vanell, St. John Cox, Vince Cucurato, Jason Edwards, Trevor Dunford, Danny Kiyama. They're the top 10 there. We've eventually got through these lists pretty quickly. So then we'll go across the line. The midget there of Dave Bagett, Dave Hopper, Murray Stevenson, John Mackham, John Illingworth, Anthony Vogelbrett, Gary Dibson in the Triumph, who went down a lap. We lost Dave McKigan, and I think the two non-starters there were Greg White and Chris Gidney there, also failed to finish the previous event.
Correct, yeah.